So let's start now. And today's theme of the lecture is answer writing for 300 plus marks. As everyone wants to obtain 300 plus, right? You also want to obtain 300 plus. Answer writing, as you know, this is very important aspect of the preparation, right? Of course, here the preparation of history optional subject, all right? And many a time I find like you are also quite obsessed with it. And you do a lot of writing. I mean, writing marathon you start. Though that is not needed, right? So in this lecture, I am going to discuss certain finer aspects of answer writing. I will discuss about the purpose of answer writing. I will discuss about the approaches you are supposed to follow. I will discuss about what are the characteristics of a very good answer. And I will be discussing also what approach we will be following in our class, etc., etc. Okay. So regarding answer writing, the first thing what you are supposed to know, take a look here. See the title. Improvement in answer writing is not based on just answer writing. There is a common perception in the market that improvement in answer writing is solely based on answer writing. This means you keep on writing, join test series, more writing. It leads to improvement, though this is not the case. Okay. Of course, answer writing is required, but with answer writing, I mean before answer writing, three more things are also very, very important. In the absence of that, in the absence of these three things, what I mentioned, 1, 2, 3, the actual answer writing is not very relevant. That means you have to come out of this commonly believed notion that doing just answer writing will improve your answer. Okay. So first thing is knowledge of relevant issues and themes. Second is knowledge of how to write a brilliant answer. And third is mental practice. The actual writing must begin after these three, not before that. Normally what happens, you read, you study, you join some classes, you join some test series, right? And then you start writing answer. This is not the right way. So first basic requirement before actual writing is knowledge of relevant issues and themes. Relevant issues and themes means what? The issues and themes on which nowadays question occur. Now there is a big question, answer writing on what? Should we write answer on the issues like causes of Swadeshi movement? Should we write answer on the issue impact of French Revolution? Should we write answer on the issue role of Mahatma Gandhi in Indian national movement? Answer is of course no. Because these are not relevant issues, we shouldn't expect questions on these kind of issues. So first requirement is what I say, answer writing on what? The selection is very, very important. Relevant issues and themes. So answer writing only on the relevant issues and themes, nothing else. The issues and themes that are not relevant, answer writing on them is a wastage of time, because such issues never occur as a question in today's, if you consider today's pattern of question. And knowledge about relevant issues and themes, this has two dimensions. One dimension is you should know what issue, you should know what theme, plus you should have proper knowledge of that issue or that theme. This proper knowledge means comprehensive knowledge. Comprehensive knowledge also means technical knowledge. If you are just aware of certain basic things about that issue, you cannot write a very good answer. So in order to write a very good answer, one requirement is you should have knowledge about the relevant issues or themes in depth. That is what I call highly specialized knowledge or technical knowledge, just not basic knowledge. Sometimes we will find that many people, they have some basic knowledge about some issue. Though issue is relevant, question could occur, but the knowledge what one has is a very basic knowledge. On the basis of that basic knowledge, if you write the answer, marks would be poor. Why? Because every optional subject is a test of knowledge, and this is a test of highly specialized knowledge. This means you are supposed to write highly specialized answers. If answers are simplistic, basic, not technical, not highly specialized, this is subject to poor marking. So first requirement is you should know answer writing on what kind of issues, on what kind of themes, plus you should have technical knowledge of that issue or that theme. This first you have to develop. Otherwise answer writing would be all irrelevant, meaningless. No point writing, wasting time there. This first point is okay? All of you getting? Second is knowledge of how to write a brilliant answer. This knowledge is equally important. It's not like you write the answer, you get it evaluated, again you write, again you get evaluation, again you write, again you get evaluation, and through feedback gradually you improve. This is the latter stage. In the initial stage, you should know how to write a brilliant answer. You know how to write a brilliant answer, this involves so many things. That questions are also of different types. For example, sometimes you find a question is there where theme is very clear. Theme is very clear. For example, one question. Battle of Plassey was won by conspiracy. Comment. Now in this question, theme is very clear, that is Battle of Plassey. So in such a statement or in such issue, when the theme is clear, how to start? This is a knowledge, one specific aspect of knowledge, how to write brilliant answer. Take second example. One question, a British conquered India in a fit of absent-mindedness. Discuss. Now here, theme is not clear. This means it is not clear what is this statement all about. British conquered India in a fit of absent-mindedness. What is this? What does it mean? Theme is not clear. So in such issues, when theme is not clear, then how to start? This is one specific aspect of knowledge, how to write brilliant answer. In what type of questions you have to conclude? Conclusion is not essential, but I find in the market, everyone present a conclusion in every answer, and that is not conclusion. That is basically a summary of what you have written. Summary of what you have written is not conclusion. So that is a wrong approach. But this approach is so widely prevalent, everyone is doing that. So if you know that where to write conclusion, this is a knowledge, a specific knowledge about how to write brilliant answer. When you write the main body of the answer, what things to be incorporated, what kind of information, whether you should quote primary sources, whether you should quote historians, how to incorporate diagrams, what kind of facts, information, data to be included, to what extent. These are all about, there are so many things we'll discuss in detail later. But right now I want to give you the idea that before you do actual writing, this knowledge is very important. This means beforehand you know how to write a brilliant answers. If this knowledge is there, then what happens? 60-70% improvement is automatically there. The rest 30%, 40% improvement is based on feedback when you do actual writing. But this is not the case normally in the market. The market, what happens? First you write, then evaluation, then a little bit of feedback. But that kind of feedback is also not very effective. Feedback should be very meticulous kind of feedback. Very particular, very specific kind of feedback, line by line. Just not broad feedback. Broad feedback means add more to content. Content is poor. This feedback will not help you improve. Content is poor, so what? What content to be added? This knowledge you should have. Why this content is poor? What is missing? Suppose 5 things you write. So on these 5 things, if you get 3 marks, so in order to get 4, 5, 6 out of 10, what other things to be added? If you write a conclusion, if that is wrong, why this is wrong? If this is a summary, this to be avoided. So if it is summary, how this is a summary? A teacher is supposed to prove everything logically. Then actual improvement takes place. Even language part also. What kind of language you are using? Sometimes what happens, you know the content, you know many things very well, but the way you present is poor. They also lose marks. So sometimes there might be a need to improve the language as well. Language means answer should be properly explained. It should be effective. Plus you use technical words, expressions, slangs, jargons related to that subject. Is it fine? So this is all about, there are certain things I have discussed about the knowledge of how to write a brilliant answer. This means if without 2 you do actual writing, it is meaningless. And then 3, mental practice. Because see, the way questions are occurring nowadays, questions are not straight. Normally, most of the questions are not very straight, not very simple kind of. They are complex. They are on micro issues. They are on issues connecting to 3-4 topics. So in that case, one thing becomes very important, that some brainstorming should be there. That is what I call mental practice. Mental practice is what? Question to be considered meticulously. That what is the demands in the question. Mental practice is what? How you will start. What should be the first part? What should be the second part? What should be the third part? What should be the fourth part? Mental practice is what all you will write in first part. You are not writing, you are just thinking. What all you will write in first part? What all you will write in second part? What all you will write in third? What all you will write in fourth? If you write introduction, so what kind of introduction? If conclusion is needed, so what kind of conclusion? Mental practice means what kind of diagrams you can incorporate. Mental practice also means what historians you can quote here, what sources you can quote here, etc., etc. This is just mental practice. You are not writing. Just keeping the question before you and doing mental practice. At the most you can write is, you can write part 1 of the answer this, part 2 is this, part 3, part 4, that's all. This is not actual writing. This is the third thing required. When you think that you fulfill these 3 conditions properly, then it is time to do actual writing. And then you will find that 70-80% part of your answer is beautiful. Only 30-20% required that you will improve through actual writing and feedback. And only when the feedback is very specific, not general feedback that write conclusion, improve introduction, add more content. This kind of feedback will not help you. Feedback should be also very particular feedback. Is this fine? Clear? So finally, the lesson from here is that there is a commonly believed notion in the market: a study and ship to writing. Test is a very common thing, very favorite of yours also. But if you apply your logic, I think this will appear quite meaningful to you. First, answer writing on what? 2, answer writing on the issues and themes, what you consider important, whether you have technical knowledge there or not, or you have just basic idea. Second, are you aware of all aspects related to how to write a beautiful answer? And third, have you done some mental practice related to such issues? So after these 3, then we have to shift to actual writing. Is this okay? So that's why the heading, see the heading? Improvement in answer writing is not based on just answer writing. That is based on one, that is based on 2, that is based on 3 as well. After this begins actual writing. And then it becomes meaningful. Okay? Now, after understanding this, let's consider this second. What the purpose of answer writing here? There are 3 purposes of answer writing. 1, to write a very good answer. Very good answer means only one thing, that you get about 6 marks out of 10. These are brilliant marks. Shouldn't think more than this. This means about 12 marks out of 20. Accordingly, you can calculate. Very good answer simply means this. When you will start practicing and you start getting 6 out of 10, about 6, I mean, this may be 5.5, sometimes 5, sometimes 6.5, sometimes maybe 7. Consistently on different issues, different topics. This means your answer writing is very good. Second purpose is to write within time. To write within time, you understand? The total time allotted and how many questions you have to attempt and how many words you are supposed to write. So finally, how much time you are supposed to give to one question. I hope you understand my point. So you have to ensure this also is the second purpose. And third purpose is to write within a space, because nowadays, specific pages are allotted for a specific question. It's not like university exam, writing pages after pages, pages after pages. Now, to write within time, this depends on your knowledge and speed. Many think it is just based on speed. No. If your knowledge is poor, then what will happen? You will take a lot of time first to understand the question. Second, you will take a lot of time to create the structure of the answer or plan the answer. It will consume a lot of time. If we have in-depth knowledge there, immediately we will understand what is the question and how to write the answer, which saves time. So many think it rests on only speed. No, it rests on first knowledge, and of course speed. In general, people have reasonable speed, and in the examination hall anyway, the speed increases tremendously automatically because of that psychological press. You must have realized that maybe right now, given a chance, you are not that fast. In the examination hall, you become so fast. And plus, if your knowledge is also in depth, understanding question very fast, you are still fast. To write within a space, this depends on one, mental practice. First, means proper planning how you will write first part, second part, what I have discussed just now. Plus, actual writing also. And the first one, to write very good answer. This depends on what thing? This depends on one, the technical knowledge, in-depth knowledge of that issue, first requirement. Okay. Second, your in mental practice, what you do, that also improves this. I mean, this is what I have discussed just now. Technical knowledge, mental practice. Three, knowledge about how to write. brilliant answers, and of course actual writing. So first one depends on these four things, second one these two, third one these two. Now what I want to suggest you, that don't fulfill all the purposes at the same time. This is not required. Consider answer writing as a two-stage process. This is okay, I think. Consider answer writing as a two-stage process. Take a look here. Two-stage answer writing approach. First stage is you have to ensure that you write very good answers consistently on different issues. And very good answers means you are getting about 6 out of 10 consistently on different issues. First you ensure this. This means when you start answer writing, you forget whether you are writing within a space or within time or not. You just focus on this, because the major problem is this. This is a minor problem. In general, all the sincere students writing main and those who have studied well, they don't have this problem in fact, in general. Primarily the problem is this. So two-stage process means first you have to focus on this. So for some time, for some period, suppose 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, first ensure this. So ensuring what? You write very good answers, not one answer or two answers or three, consistently, not on one kind of topic, different types of topic. There's something like, we're starting with medieval, so for example, medieval art and culture. So Mughals, Sultanate, South India, for example. This means different types of issues consistently. So if you are getting 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7, this level if you reach and consistency is there, that means this is okay. And this will be okay also in future as well. This will be okay in modern also, this will be okay in ancient, this will be okay in world as well. And then you shift to this. And this is just you have to ensure. Writing in a space, within a space, that depends on mental practice. Through mental practice, because sometimes what happens? One big issue presented as a small question, 10-mark question. So many things you have to write, you compress them in about 200 words. Main things you write. Sometimes what happens, that a lot of things are there in one issue, and given a chance you can write 8-10 pages, but the maximum you have to write 4 pages. Again you have to compress. So mental practice helps there. And writing within time, I have said this depends on knowledge also. If you have technical knowledge related to that issue, you will be faster. Plus your speed also. And for speed, there is no need of writing test. For speed, at home, in your room, sit, put a clock before you, write one answer and see how much time it takes. But writing one answer doesn't mean you revise everything. See, whole history you cannot revise. That final revision would be only when you will be writing exam. No one can revise the whole subject, the entire GS, entire optional, when one is not writing the main exam. But that is the only period after prelim when you are in a position to revise everything finally, properly. It is a wastage of time writing test. on many subjects because you cannot do it. So for time and space, what you have to do is you pick up one small issue. On a small issue you pick up. Suppose you pick up Alauddin Khalji. Alauddin Khalji market reforms. You revise it very properly. Pick a question from here and write that putting a clock before you and see whether you are in a position to write in time or not. Similarly, suppose you pick up Muhammad bin Tughlaq, his experiments, revise it properly, pick up a question or two questions. So write these two in one go continuously, seeing the time. This way 3 questions, sometimes 4 questions. But I think 2-3 questions simultaneously, this will make you know, okay, you are writing within time or not. If that is okay, it's all right. And in any way in the examination hall, speed would be fast, increase automatically. So this is not a major issue. Major issue is this. So this you have to continue. And this you keep on doing from time to time after you ensure this. So after you ensure this, you continue this. Keep on writing. And after you ensure this, you keep on doing this also from time to time. Just to ensure you are writing within a space and within time. And final revision would be after prelim, those 3 months. That is the only period when you can revise everything properly, all sections properly. Otherwise you can't do it in any other period. And that too when you know you are qualifying prelim. Because if you know you are failing in prelim, again you can't revise. Because for that revision a big motivation is required. And that motivation is you are writing main now. So I find many people joining test series, before that this is useless. And during that, even test series is not required if during the course you cover everything. Because I've said, what purposes are there? To write a very good answer. During the course, you can ensure it. To write within time, during the course you can ensure it. To write within a space, during the course you can ensure it. After that, what is needed for answer writing? Nothing. And after prelim, the period is about 3 months. 3 months is just adequate for effective revision, nothing else, plus some current in GS. And that's why you will find those people who keep on writing so many tests after prelim and keep on learning new things, they in general fail. They have to write exam anyway next year because they cannot revise. So after prelim, that period is only for revision. Just focus on revision and everything you finish before. Okay? So I hope you understand this 2 stages. And now I am shifting to the hallmark of very good answers. The theme of today's lecture is answer writing for 300 marks. Answer writing for 300 marks, so many things are needed. Many things I have discussed. And now discussion will revolve around the hallmark of very good answers. Here are 3 things you find: the right approach, a standard content, properly written. If you ensure 1, 2, 3, you ensure your answer is very good. If we raise one issue that what kind of answer an examiner looks for. So an examiner looks for an answer that is characterized by a right approach, characterized by a standard content, and that is properly written. If an examiner finds these three things, the examiner will give you about 6 marks out of 10. If these things are missing, your answer is subject to poor marks. For example, if your answer is characterized by right approach and also a standard content, but it is not properly presented, properly written, again you lose some marks. If your approach is wrong, so that answer is very poor, maybe you get 0 also. If approach is okay, but your content is poor, again you lose marks. I hope you are getting my point. I will explain this through example. 1, 2 particularly. What is the standard content? What is right approach? That you are getting properly written. But I am going to discuss one by one, these three. So your whole focus should be these three in order to create a very good answer. The first one, right approach. The right approach is that your answer is in tune with the demand of the question. Right approach is what? Right approach is your answer is in tune with the demand of the question. A question is there, suppose question 1. Question 1, certain demands are there. In every question, you have certain demands. You write an answer that is in consonance with this. That means your answer represents right approach. A basic formula is there. Nothing beyond demand, nothing less than demand. The basic formula here is nothing beyond demand, nothing less than demand. I think this gives you the fundamental idea. Nothing beyond demand, nothing less than demand. Everything according to demand. One simple example. I ask you, what is your name? So what is the demand? Name. The right approach is, you tell me only your name. Now your answer is, my name is so and so. I am from Maharashtra. Now, I am from Maharashtra is beyond the demand. This is not the demand. This means this is wrong approach. Your answer is, my name is so and so, my father's name is so and so. This is wrong approach. Suppose question is, what is your father's name? Then you write, I am so and so, my father's name is this. Again, this is wrong approach. Why? Who are you is not the question. Through this simple example, you understand the approach. Now, we commit these mistakes, and since the questions are very complex here, questions are not like this, what is your name? Questions are complex, highly technical, connecting with so many topics as well. So many a time it becomes difficult to get what is the demand, what is the essence of the question. So we do one thing. We can take one example each from each section. We have 4 sections, so one example, I mean PYQ, right? Through that we can understand right approach. Okay? Some recent question. Suppose first ancient Indian history. So ancient Indian history, so in 2025, I'm thinking on those topics and issues, what you can understand. One question was there. The Hadappans were not an artistic people. Comment. This was recent main question, 2025 question. The Hadappans were not an artistic people. Comment. Now here, I have said, right approach depends on your knowledge first. Right approach depends on first your knowledge of that issue, plus your analytical ability also. But first knowledge. If your knowledge is proper, you will understand what is the demand. If knowledge is not proper, then what you will do, maybe you understand that the question is related to Harappan art. Okay? Then you tend to write on Harappan art. You write about Harappan art. And give some comment finally that all these show that so many kinds of art, what we have discovered. So that shows they were artistic people. We cannot say they were not artistic because Harappan art is there. So many things. Now this becomes a wrong approach. The moment approach is wrong, you lose substantial marks because you are not writing according to demand. Plus, according to demand also means, I have said, you should have technical knowledge of this. Now the technical knowledge of this is that in general in history it is considered that archaeological findings, they are suggestive of they being artistic. Yes, because we have discovered so many stone images, metal images, painting on pottery, jewelries, beads, seals, so many things, right? So this suggests they were artistic. But if we consider it very minutely, particularly with respect to one major art form, architecture, what kind of architecture we have come to know on the basis of archaeological finds? Think. The type of architecture we know through archaeological evidences that suggest that architecture was very plain. Engravings are absent. Simply the beauty part is absent in architects. It is more utilitarian. The utility aspect was focused, not aesthetic aspect. We have not discovered beautiful buildings with beautiful ornamentation, decorative aspects and all. You think of many structures, certain buildings, even the buildings in the lower town are very common. Even buildings in the citadel area also, they are very plain. With respect to this, it appears they were not artistic. They attach greater importance to utilitarian value. This is the technical knowledge here. So right approach is what? The right approach is that you write about the archaeological findings. So many archaeological findings apart from architecture. And you show, this shows they were artistic. We cannot say they were not artistic. But when we consider one major art form, that is architecture, so what kind of evidences we find? And they are suggestive of the buildings were very plain and characterized by absence of decorative aspects. So aesthetic sense is badly missing here. In this context, we can say they were not artistic, but not in general. Now, when you write this represent right approach. I hope you are getting my point. Alright? But for this right approach, technical knowledge is required. This is what I am saying always. That for a beautiful answer, first very important requirement is technical knowledge there. Okay? Take another example. One from medieval. Yes, recent question. One remember. Burmese Fatwai Jahandari is not a proper account of Delhi Sultanate, but a lament. Comment. This is also, I think, 2025 question. Bani was a famous history writer during Delhi Sultanate. He wrote a book, Fatwai Jahandari. Now question is on that. Bani's Fatwai Jahandari is not a proper account of Delhi Sultanate, but a lament. Comment. If you don't perceive the demand here, so you end up writing about Fatwai Jahandari of Bani. So normally we'll find people will write, they will introduce Bani, they will write about Fatwai Jahandari, this, over. This is the wrong approach, because this is not in tune with the demand. Demand is, it is not a proper account of DS, but a lament. Of course, this again depends on your technical knowledge here. Technical knowledge of Fatwai Jahandari. If you know Fatwai Jahandari very properly, In general, if you write, in general, if you know, you can't answer. But you know the nature of it very properly, then you can understand the demand. So demand here is what? The description of Fatwa-i Jahandari, whatever is the description here. That description is not the proper account of DS. Barney wrote one more book, Tariq-e-Firozshah. This can be considered as a proper account of DS, but not this. Why? Because this is idealistic in nature, didactic in nature. It's like sermonizing, giving pieces of advice. System should be like this. A monarch should play a role like this. They should be like this. They should be like that. Justice is important, for example. What is the importance of Shariat? What is Jawab? I mean, these kind of things are there. If this technical knowledge is there, then you can perceive the right approach here. So, right approach in the answer is what? That Burmese Tariq-e-Firozshah, of course, represent proper account of DS, but not this. Because the nature of this, then you have to highlight. It's idealistic. In fact, he presents various ideals important for a political system to be followed by monarch. That also means, but everything is not followed. So when everything is not followed, so it's a lament. I think you're getting my point. Not a proper account. It doesn't give description of the rulers, their policies and the systems and all. When you write this way, then you follow a right approach. Getting the idea of approach? And simply introducing Barni and writing about Fatwa-i Jahandari, this is a wrong approach. Take now one example from modern. Modern, again I remember 2025 question, I remember more because it was a recent exam. One question was, in fact I am trying to choose one such, what you can understand also very well without studying them. One question was, maybe I think all of you must have read this in GS also. You have read revenue settlement in modern period. One is permanent settlement by Cornwallis. Yeah, this question related to permanent settlement by Cornwallis. The question is, do you agree that permanent settlement 1793 in Bengal was greatly influenced by physiocratic thinking? This is the question. Now, again technical knowledge is required. Everyone knows permanent settlement Bengal by Cornwallis 1793, but that basic knowledge will not help you write this. So normally what will happen? People will end up writing about permanent settlement and their features and all over. This is wrong approach. This is not the demand. Demand is, do you agree that it was greatly influenced by physiocratic thinking? Physiocratic thinking, say, these physiocrats, they represent a group of economic thinkers in 18th century France, right? In French Revolution, you study role of philosophers. They were the part of the philosophers, okay? They presented the economic program. What kind of economic program should be there in France? They were the first to coin the term, maybe you have heard, you have read in GS Economic, laissez-faire, free economy. So they focused on the idea of freeing economy. They focused on agriculture sector. They consider land as the most important thing in economy. And they wanted that there should be only one tax on land, one major tax, all other taxes to go. Plus they were believer in free economy. So they were also believer in minimal government, right? Minimal government. I mean, this is the essence of physiocratic thinking. So this thinking influenced permanent settlement? Yes. Many British administrators, officers during this time, and many European observers, they were influenced by this thinking. This is also 18th century. Physiocratic thinking emerged in France in 18th century. So many were influenced by this idea, minimal government, and that's why they made zamindars as the honor. I mean, they were not directly collecting. They appointed intermediaries. So minimal government. Land is the most important thing in the economy according to them. So they focus on land revenue. Permanent settlement was related to land revenue. It was a land revenue settlement. Alright. So you have to connect this way. I mean, I'm brief, I'm explaining right now just to give you the idea. My aim is not to teach you. My aim is to give you the idea of right approach. So here you will have to write about the permanent settlement, just 2-3 lines. What was it? Then you have to write about physiocratic thinking. I've just now said one thing, mental practice. I explain mental practice through this also. Mental practice is reading this properly and using your knowledge. First, knowledge should be there. See, if you never heard physiocrats, so how can you answer? Just knowing the features of permanent settlement, who introduced, you cannot answer. So technical in-depth knowledge is there. So now we assume we know everything. Assuming that now, again mental practice is required. What? Now you consider this, okay, this is the question. What is the demand? So you will find that one demand is, what is this? One demand is this. One demand is greatly influenced or not. And one demand is, do you agree? So 4 demands are there. So mental practice. How we will start? What should be the first part, second part? This way. Mental practice, thinking, brainstorming. And even writing down if you want this way. Part 1. Part 1 of the answer. So introducing permanent settlement. Just 2-3 lines. What was this? Well, this is a demand. Part 2. Physiocratic thinking. Part 3. Linking physiocratic thinking with permanent settlement. Showing this influenced. Plus here also we will write many European and British observers and officials. They were greatly influenced by this and they were in favor of introducing this kind of settlement. And this influenced Cornwallis as well. So yes, this greatly influenced. So we have fulfilled how many demands? 3 demands. 1, and sequence also we will have to follow. Okay, what should be the first part? This should be the first part. Second, this. Third, this. Proper sequence you have to make. Then do you agree is also there. So you agree that yes, this influenced greatly, but because do you agree means but is involved. But other factors also play, the circumstances also played a role. 4, but the prevailing circumstances and the necessities, I mean, of course, of British East India Company, that also played a role. For example, the previous settlement, what they had introduced, Ijadari settlement, that had failed. Land revenue was very main source in India. Revenue was very important for them to rule, to maintain army, to trade, etc., etc. So they were very much interested in uh, creating or giving rise to one settlement that should be such so that they kept on getting a regular source of revenue. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is mental practice. This is not actual writing. Thinking, brainstorming. I mean, assuming you have all knowledge, then. If all knowledge is not there, so first problem would be what is this? When people think, we have read so much of permanent settlement, such a popular topic, everything we know, but what is this? Is it okay? So I've given the example of mental practice as well, this kind of, I mean before actual writing. After that, the same thing can transform into writing. Getting my point? Clear? Okay. One more example from world history. French Revolution is okay. French Revolution is popular topic. Okay. One question was there in 2025. French Revolution has started. Maybe I forget some words in the question, but essence is there. It started and led to victory of aristocracy in its first phase. Tail word I don't remember. Assume this was common. Okay, this is also 2025 question. Now see the question. French Revolution started and led to victory of aristocracy in its first phase. Comment. So we assume that we have technical knowledge of this. Only then we can write it. Because if you know just the causes of French Revolution, impact of French Revolution, significance, you cannot answer this. Alright? Now, one who fails to understand the right demand, so one's approach becomes wrong. Here, if not getting the right demand, so one will end up writing, since I started is there, and victory of aristocracy, something like causes, this happened, this cause, aristocracy was involved, but that becomes a wrong approach. Right approach is what? Of course, then right approach requires that technical knowledge. This is in fact related to the historiography of French Revolution, and there's a very famous French historian who presented the view that French Revolution was in fact 4 revolutions. It was a combination of 4. One was what he calls aristocratic revolution. That was the first revolution. And according to him, that was the first phase of the revolution. This question is related to that. And essence here is what? Essence here is that the economic financial condition in France was very bad. This was in such a bad condition that there was urgent need of reforms. Okay. The monarch appointed some people to suggest reforms. But those reforms were all anti-aristocracy. Because according to those reforms, taxes were to be imposed on aristocracy. And they didn't want this. Okay? They opposed this. They kept on opposing the monarch. So there began an embittered struggle between aristocracy and monarchy. Monarch was Louis XVI. Finally, monarch succumbed to the opposition of the aristocracy. They had suggested convene a state general to seek the opinion of the whole nation in order to introduce such reforms. And monarch accepted it. So this was finally the victory of the aristocracy. So what you have to write here is this only. That means the economic condition, the bad economy, need of reforms, the reforms suggested, opposition by aristocracy because it was not in their interest, embittered a struggle between monarchy and aristocracy. Finally, monarch succumbed to the demand of aristocracy, that is to convene a state general. And a state general was convened. So I have to write till a state general was convened or before that. So this is the right approach here. And this is commonly given the name aristocratic revolution. Aristocratic revolution, and this is known as curtain raiser. Who raises the curtain of the revolution. Getting the idea? So I have taken one example from this section just to make you understand what is right approach. So right approach is very, very important. But if approach is wrong, maybe your whole answer becomes wrong. When the whole answer becomes wrong, you can end up getting 0 also. So first requirement is the most important requirement. If content is poor, still you will get some marks, but poor marks. Not properly written, still you can get some marks. But if the approach is wrong, of course you don't understand what is the demand, you write on entirely different wrong lines. Now coming back to the same here, right approach. So nothing beyond the demand, nothing less than the demand, just according to demand. And see, UPSC doesn't see one very popular format or template is there in the market. Write introduction, write main body, write conclusion. Okay? Maybe you follow also this. My logic is simple logic. UPSC doesn't demand this. You go through the UPSC instructions about the exam, you never find like interview. So UPSC demand is there. Interview is what? What they want to assess. Essay, what they want to assess. Everything written. UPSC doesn't mention you write first introduction, then main body, then conclusion. But it has become so popular, it is very difficult to stop it. When toppers also follow this. My logic is very simple, or you also try to digest it logically. Right approach means fulfill the demand. For example, French Revolution has started and led to victory of aristocracy in its first phase. Understand demand, fulfill the demand. Whatever way you want to fulfill, you fulfill it. You will get full marks. Marks do not depend on whether you write here introduction, conclusion or what. This is the format of essay, not GS and optional. But people follow it. See, there are certain things in society, every society, that is so popular, but that is not scientific. Do you think so? Think of history. Long back, during modern times, sati was prevalent. Whole Indian society following sati. There was only one person saying, no, this is wrong, stop it. Raja Ram Mohan Roy. So my logic is, when the whole society can be wrong, what the problem here, 7, 8, 10 lakhs people preparing if they are wrong. There is one logic to understand my logic, what I want to say. So UPSC demand is not this. UPSC does want one thing. Perceive the demand, fulfill the demand beautifully. Perceive the demand, fulfill the demand. In fulfilling demand, if you need write introduction, it is okay. If you need write sometimes conclusion, it is okay. Main body is always required. But it is not essential or any rigid format. But I have seen even teachers also. If you don't have any conclusion in answer, they say, where is conclusion? Write conclusion. Because they themselves don't know what is conclusion. Conclusion is not summary. What kind of conclusion do we write? Everything what we have written before, the summary of that. Hence we find that this. Same thing we repeat in brief. Thus we find this. Not conclusion. Conclusion is something new coming out. What you have not already mentioned. And repetition carries no marks. Otherwise what? Introduction, that is also summary of main body. Then elaborated version of main body. Elaborated version of introduction, that is main body. Again summary of main body, that is conclusion. Same thing you are writing thrice. So are you befooling the examiner? Suppose in the class, first day I come. First day I come, I teach you Muhammad bin Tughlaq in brief. Second day I come, I teach you Muhammad bin Tughlaq in elaborated version. Third day I come, I teach you Muhammad bin Tughlaq again in brief. Fourth day I come, I teach you Muhammad. You will say, what is this? Please move ahead. Muhammad bin Tughlaq is over. Why to do this over and over again in different ways? Sometimes small, sometimes big. Best is do big, over. Do you get my logic? Same thing we are doing and befooling, and that is the reason many people don't get marks. A space is limited and plenty of things are to be written, you don't have a space. Unnecessarily you are writing conclusion everywhere, unnecessarily introduction everywhere. And this is sometimes used to cover the space also. Why? Knowledge is not there, for example. Do you agree that permanent settlement, this, knowledge is poor? But anyway, suppose 3 pages are there. 3 pages are to be covered. So what we'll do, we'll write big introduction, permanent settlement this much, half page. Then all features and all everything. Again a big conclusion, half page. So this way we cover 3 pages. This will be fooling the examiner that we are writing the whole answer, but the examiner is not, all that fool. The examiner understand what you are writing. Of course, if you fall in this case sometimes, but your knowledge is very poor, there is no choice, then you follow this. Write a big introduction, main body and conclusion the way you write, so that you cover. So some psychological satisfaction you will have, but you don't have any choice also. But when you have full knowledge, why to follow this? You get my logic? Yes. Now coming to a standard content. A standard content simply means your answer must be highly specialized answer. Highly specialized answer. They should not revolve around the basics. This simply means the answer must be very technical. Technical means so many things. All relevant facts, information, codes, sources, diagrams, everything. Technical slangs, technical words. Is it okay? Now, if your approach is right, of course you will get some marks, though content is poor. But our target is around 6. If we get 2, 3 out of 10, and so it's useless for us. Our lecture is what? Answer writing for 300 plus marks. 300 plus marks means around 6 you have to get out of 10, or around 12 out of 20. So for that, content should be a standard. That means highly specialized answer. Whatever knowledge you have there within the space, try to present that. Your in-depth knowledge. So then in-depth knowledge is required for that. If suppose in one particular answer 10 points are there, write all the 10. If a space is not there, with less elaboration. But not like writing 5 and elaborating. This is a poor approach. Writing all with less elaboration. That shows your knowledge. Is it okay? For this also I take 1-2 example to make you understand. Some PYQ, a standard content is what? I think if we take example from medieval Indian history, since we will be starting now, that will be better for you. So a standard content one question from Delhi Sultanate. Delhi Sultanate architecture is okay. You have some idea, must have read in GS also. One question, trace the technological and stylistic development in the architecture of the Sultanate of Delhi. Okay. Now a standard content here means, see, technological and a stylistic development in the architecture of the Sultanate of Delhi. A standard content means highly specialized, fully technical answer, full of technical things, jargon, slangs, images, diagrams, facts. Okay, then you can think of 300 plus marks. So here what kind of thing? Normally you think what kind of thing you will write and then you compare. So it is technological and stylistic. So you have to write here about arch or dome, minarets, stone masonry, ornamentation in the architecture, and influences of Trabeate tradition. Trabeate tradition refers to architectural tradition what was prevalent in India. These 6 you will have to write. When you write all the 6, that shows a standard content. One thing. Now think in one answer. 1 is there, 2 is there, 3 missing, 4 missing, 6 missing. It's not a standard content. In one answer, 1 is there, 2 is there, 3 is there, 4, 5, 6 missing. It's a poor answer. When all the 6 are there, this represents a standard content. One thing. But it's not enough. Within as well. Within this, what all you write. Within arts, what all you write. One day we had discussed, I think, no? Arts, I remember in some lectures, no? Now, if you write those things, so those things means under arch, if you write corbelled arch, true arch, four centered arch, I mean these kind of things with diagrams and all, this shows a standard content. If you write arch in a very simplistic way, this is a poor content. Similarly, dome. So what you write within dome during Sultanate, because this is technological and stylistic. This is related to technological and stylistic. I mean, there are just 3 I have mentioned, more are there. Similarly, dome. So writing dome in simplistic way is a poor content. A standard content means what within dome you write. I am explaining this slightly just to give you a broader idea. What within dome? So within dome, within dome. So first we will have to write a dome kind of a structure created. Dome is what? The round roof. So first dome kind of a structure created. Domical structure. This we find in Iltutmish tomb. Then one technological development is true dome. True dome. I hope you remember true arch. When the true arch technology is applied to roof, that dome becomes true dome. I mean, was technology applied to roof, that becomes true dome. So first true dome is Alai Darwaja under Khaljis. Then you have to write the domes for a long period. First dynasty, first is Turk, second is Khalji, third is Tughlaq. So during this time, domes were technologically known as half dome. So domes were half dome. Half dome is quarter circle dome. Quarter circle dome, this way you can understand. So this is circle. See, have a look. This is half circle. This is quarter circle. And if you create dome here, now I am removing the rest. See, I am creating this again. See, this is circle, right? This is half circle. This is quarter circle. So making dome at quarter circle height. So I am removing this. I am removing. Now making dome here. So your dome is this. Your dome is this. So this I remove. So this dome is half circle dome. Sorry, half dome. So half dome is quarter circle dome. And this is low height dome. And then what happened? One new technology emerged, that is drum under Sayyids. And then full dome emerged. Under Lodhis. That means tomb, Alai Darwaja under Khaljis, under Sayyids, drum, Lodhis. So before Sayyids, dome were half domes like this. Then drum here. Drum is a structure that raised the height of the dome. And then full dome emerged, a new technology under Lodhis. Full dome is half circle dome. Half dome is quarter circle dome. Full dome is half circle dome. Take a look. Full circle, half circle. Creating dome here. Removing this now. See this dome. This is full circle dome. So full circle dome is a larger, higher dome. And then under Lodhis, one more new technology emerged, that is double dome. And double dome is when the dome become very high, and dome is the roof. When you are inside here, this is your roof. So it becoming the roof becoming very high, this round roof. So internal harmony is lost. In order to create, nowadays also we create false ceiling. So here, this is the dome becoming very high. So one more inner dome constructed. This is the inner dome, outer dome. This is a double dome technology. Getting? See what I have said here. See, take a look. Oh, sorry. So here, yes. What I am saying is, standard content means writing all the 6, but it is not enough. Writing and what you are writing within, that makes it a standard. If 3, 4 are there, that is not a standard content. All should be there. Plus within also, this should be highly technical. We normally don't like this because we don't have knowledge. We just write domes are there. Domes is one important aspect, and domes we find in this building over. This is poor content. Standard technical content means elaborating this during Saltanat. This shows the technological aspect, a little bit of a stylistic also. Okay, so starting from domical structure to true dome to half dome, drum, full dome, double dome. This becomes highly specialized content. I hope you are getting my point. Okay, so same everywhere. Same everywhere. So the total dimensions you consider one thing, and within those dimensions, how in depth you write. Once you do this, you always have the chance to get 6 even more out of 10. So this is about the standard content. Even see, this is related to art and culture. Even if you consider non-art and culture theme, one more example. One example of non and art and culture. This you want to click? Okay. Now one more example with it, non-art and culture. Akbar is okay. Akbar is very popular. One question was discuss nature of a state under Akbar. A standard content. A standard content means everything about the nature in a technical way. So you have to consider here historiography again. So according to historiography on the nature of Mughal state, one aspect here is it was centralized state. Second, question mark on centralized state. Third, military state. Fourth, enlightened and benevolent despotic state. Fifth, blend of many political traditions. Many political traditions means Turco-Mongol, Arabic, Iranian and Indian. 6 is near secular state. This is state, okay? Near secular state. 7th is patrimonial bureaucratic state. 8 is paper government. These are the 8 aspects regarding the nature of a state, Mughal state under Akbar, and this is in the light of the historiography on the nature of Mughal state under Akbar. A standard content means all 8 should be there. Centralized state, question mark on centralized state, military state, enlightened and bureaucratic despotic state, blend of many political traditions, Turco-Mongol, Arabic, Iranian, Indian, near secular state, patrimonial bureaucratic state, and paper government. So when you write all these 8, this means a standard content using. Plus, within this, again same way, like dome, within this. So within this, like centralized state, for example. There is a view presented by historians like Irfan Habib, Athar Ali. They consider it centralized on the basis of what all? So they consider it centralized on the basis of the Suba system, Mansab Jagir system, land revenue system, monetary system, etc. So what within is equally important. So when we write like this, we can expect 6 out of 10. Getting my point? So now take a look here. A standard content you understand. Finally, what I want to say that these two are very important aspect for getting 300 plus marks. A little bit of problem there can work. Properly written means the content what you present properly. Reasonable kind of language, proper explanation, coherence is there, sequence properly you maintain. This kind of thing is properly written. But what I am saying is a little bit of problem, that is okay. But this should be perfectly alright. So all those who are getting 300 plus or around 300, 290, around very high marks, of course their answers are characterized by all this. Right approach is what you understand and a standard content is what you understand. Okay? And right approach, understanding demand depends on your technical knowledge. Standard content also depends on technical knowledge. Now without this, just writing answer, there won't be any improvement. Okay? So considering this slide, that these 3 are the basic requirement before you do actual writing. Now you understand it better. And finally, one more thing, what would be the class pattern about answer writing? Here what we will be doing. So you're seeing our answer writing program. This is a mix of class test, test series, mentorship rolled into one. So once we finish a topic, I will discuss in detail how to write brilliant answer with examples. I will discuss how to do mental practice also, that I have discussed as well. Okay. During the course, I will keep on giving you model questions. Keep on dictating you also model questions related to a specific issues, themes and all, possibility of question. I will send you all the PYQs last 30 years. I will give you the set of questions. After that, your work begins. What? You have now technical knowledge. You know everything. Now it is time to do some mental practice and actual writing. And then we will start the evaluation process. One-to-one discussion here. So my request to you is that by the time we finish the course, you finish your answer writing part also. Nothing extra is required after the class. So by the time course is over, you become perfect in answer writing as well. So after that, only one thing is needed. Sit, revise, okay? Sit, revise in order to produce in the exam. No answer writing further. Complete it with the class. Okay? And we will keep on discussing it very minutely, one-on-one here and through examples. So we'll get the proper idea, like today for example. What is the standard content? I have given an example. Through example, you understand better, okay, standard content, what I want to say, what is highly specialized answer. Alright? This means the answer writing program in the class is not a weekly program or monthly program or after the course. This is during the course. The moment we finish one topic, answer writing program begins, and this will continue till course comes to an end. Is it okay? So that's all in today's lecture, and we will have more discussions on answer writing once we finish the topic. Alright. Now the next lecture would be on first Monday. Tomorrow is Saturday, then Sunday. These 2 days are off. So Monday we will be meeting, and Monday we will have a lecture on again a new thing. Alright? Okay then. See you on Monday.